I am 1 in 4. After our miscarriage, I heard a lot of different things from a lot of different people. Different types of empathy, sympathy, words meant to encourage, advice. Many of these words really hurt. I would say for the most part that people are definitely good-hearted and well-intentioned, but still there's some reasons why people say things that hurt. Some people might have also experienced miscarriage, but just experienced it in a really different way. They might have felt differently about it, or maybe they didn't have the support or the sympathy as they were going through it, so all these kind of comments that can be made during this time might have been normalized for them. Some people just awkwardly don't know what to say, and they just say whatever they can think of. Some people don't know anything about miscarriage. Some people have heard myths and old wives' tales, and they've never fact-checked. I've literally heard people say out loud, "I don't know what to say," and I think I'd rather hear that than some of the other comments that I've heard. Having a miscarriage is so tough. It's so painful and it's so traumatic, and I really had no idea until I experienced one myself. And honestly, as much as I hate to admit it, I've accidentally hurt people through the things that I've said by not knowing better at the time. Through my own experience with miscarriage and through reaching out to people in my community to ask what their experience with miscarriage has been like, I created and compiled this list of 10 things not to say to someone who has experienced miscarriage, as well as 10 things to do and say instead. Here are 10 things not to say to someone who has experienced miscarriage. Number 1, anything that shames and blames. Questions or statements like, "Were you stressed? Maybe it happened because you were anxious. You need to relax. Are you taking care of your health? Is it because you eat too much of this or too little of this? Is it because you're too skinny or too overweight? You overthought it. Were you exercising? Did you take a flight? Be more careful next time. You should do this or you shouldn't do that." Every person and every pregnancy is so different. These kind of statements and questions only shame and blame. This does not make the person experiencing loss feel understood or cared for. And honestly, the person experiencing loss is probably already second guessing everything that they've eaten, everything that they've done, even when none of those things have to do with the reason why they miscarried. Number 2, at least it was early. Yeah, I mean, I get the heart behind it, that the earlier you miscarry, it kind of softens the blow a little bit, whether it's 1 day or 1 month or many months. You have already built such a special bond and connection with your baby. Whether your pregnancy is long or short, you still experience so much pain that comes with the loss. And about pregnancies that are really short, often another really sad piece of it as well is that you never even got the chance to share your exciting news with people. Number 3, you can still adopt. Yes, it's true, we can, and that is a great option. However, if you're saying that, I'm getting the sense that you don't really know that much about miscarriage. And the pain of the loss is not healed through hearing that statement. I've been told by doctors that when you have one miscarriage, that you aren't any more likely or unlikely to experience miscarriage in your next pregnancy. Number 4, everything happens for a reason. Would you dare to say that to someone who just lost their significant other, a parent, a close friend, a sibling? Absolutely not. Has anyone ever wanted to hear that after experiencing a loss? I know God is taking care, and I know that His plans are good. However, I still don't feel like the death of my baby is good, and I believe that that pains God's heart too. Number 5, why did you have a miscarriage? I've never heard of anyone having one before. This statement completely isolates the person. It's totally okay not to know a lot about miscarriage, but then you should ask questions and share in that way. You could say, "I don't know a lot about miscarriage. Do you know why these things happen?" I don't love the question, "Why did it happen?" But I usually just assume that the person doesn't know very much about miscarriage, and then I just explain. I usually just share, "I don't really know. I just know it's nothing that I did or didn't do, but that quite often these things happen from chromosomal abnormalities and the pregnancy just wasn't viable. Another thing I don't like when people say is that it's just nature, because that hurts too. Number 6, now you can still have fill in the blank. Wine, caffeine, soft cheese, can go in hot tubs. Every person in their pregnancy is different, and some people are okay with doing certain things and some people are not okay doing certain things, so fill in the blank. If someone is trying to start a family, there's a good chance that they would choose that baby over any of these other things. Number 7, all of the old wives' tales. This really goes back to the first point that I made about blaming and shaming. There are so many myths and old wives' tales that are just thrown around like they're facts, but they actually haven't been properly studied. Why are you going up and down stairs? Why are you lifting that? Why are your hands lifted over your head? Why are you leaving the house? Your pants are too tight. If you want to follow these rules and be extra careful, then go for it. But don't assume that that's why someone had a miscarriage. Number 8, you're still young, you'll get pregnant again. I love a good word of encouragement, but no matter how young or how old you are, you can still experience pain from a loss. For some people and for many people, every single loss is painful. And this is the same for me, because I personally believe that life starts at conception and that every life is beautiful and different. Number 9, at least you know you're able to get pregnant. Yes, and that's true, but there's still so much unknown. Will we be able to get pregnant again? And if we do, will we be able to stay pregnant? This statement does not ease the pain of the loss that's already happened. Number 10, this one drives me particularly crazy. You don't have it as bad as so-and-so. I feel like there's always this culture of comparison. Some people believe you can only share if you have experienced the worst possible kind of pain. If there is a hierarchy of pain, yours has to be at the top, or don't share about it. This simply isn't true, and it's not right. Instead of kicking people while they're down, we should create a community connection where we can talk about these things. We need to support each other. Every experience is different, and every experience is valid. Now that we've gone through the 10 things not to say to someone who's experienced miscarriage, let's go through the 10 things that you can do and say to support and care for someone who's experienced miscarriage. Some things that you could say are, simply say, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that you're going through this." Let them know that it's not their fault and that there's nothing that they could have done to change the outcome. Validate and acknowledge that this sucks, and let them know that it's okay to feel frustrated or angry or sad. If it's part of their belief system, tell them that God sees you and God cares about you. He cries with you. He will take good care of your baby, and that you guys will meet again. Some things that you could do are offer to pray for or with them. Be there for them when they grieve, and know that grief is not linear. It will come and go, so don't rush grief. Sit with them in their pain. Let them cry. Cry with them if you want to. Hold them if they want to be held. Connect them to others who've had a similar experience. Bring them a care package or a meal. Bringing them a care package or a meal might mean a lot to them, because these things probably aren't at the top of their priority list, and it's just a great way to show that you're thinking of them and that you really care about them too. Give them space, but check in on them. You can ask them how they want to be supported and how they want to be cared for. What do you need right now? Because every person is so different, and they might not know, and that's okay too. Miscarriage is so common. 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage. I hope to bring some awareness to this topic where we can create a sense of community and have open conversations about these kind of topics. Now I ask you, is there anything that you would add to my list? Is there something that you should definitely not say to someone who's experienced miscarriage, or perhaps something that you would have liked to hear or have done for you? Let me know in the comments below, and I really look forward to connecting more with you. Thank you so much for watching.